We are back. We are still doing Ask Me Anything with Kayla, who is a mom, and me, who's asking questions as someone who doesn't know what it's like.
Welcome back and happy Tuesday, turkeys. How long have we known each other?
We've known each other for 2 decades.
I am not apologizing for who I am or what I like or the people that I love.
How do I be a wife? How do I be a mom? And how do I be myself and all of that? You didn't see that coming.
Hello. Good morning.
Good morning. Happy Tuesday.
Chin for the win. Happy Tuesday. What?
Momming.
Today? Yeah. I'm sorry. I'm not firing on all cylinders, and I can't tell you an explanation for it. Other than that, this week felt like it was 8 days long. And I think today we are going to talk about mom guilt, which is on the nose because, interestingly enough, randomly, my coworker and I were having this conversation yesterday.
Oh, really?
Well, full disclosure, I was talking about you because I was like, I don't know how Kayla does the job that she does and then has the commute that she has and then goes home with two kids under 3 and is still breathing.
I also don't really know. I was talking to my cousin yesterday, and I was just like, I'm not really sure how I'm actually doing it. I'm just kind of like surviving somehow. So, especially on little to no sleep, which we will talk about next week, it's yeah, the mom guilt can creep in when you got when I just feel like I have so much on my plate, but like not in a bad way. But then also, when I start feeling guilty in a bad way, it's like this vicious cycle that I'll get into. So,
Yeah. Well, I don't know. Let's jump right in.
okay.
Let's orient ourselves because how old is your first?
Well, he'll be 3 in 4 months. So 2 years and 8 months.
Okay. 2.5-ish. And then how old is your newbie?
3 months, 3.5 months.
And you just went back to work after FMLA for 12 weeks.
Yes, I was off for 12 weeks and I've been back for 3 weeks.
And then I know we don't want to talk about like jobs, but for orientation purposes, you work in sales and you manage sales staff.
Yes, and we are in the real estate realm, which I think I've talked about in past episodes. So it is a lot of on-call hours. It's not like you clock in at 9, you leave at 5, and you're done. It's pretty much like you always need to somewhat kind of be available, which makes it a little trickier for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So our brain is not really ever off fully.
No, it was crazy to be off for 12 weeks and like literally shut my brain down from work, like entirely. It was almost like, what is my life right now? It's kind of weird, but in a magical way.
Yeah. So I mean, I feel like we could also have titled this "Working and Being a Mom."
Yeah.
Anyway, I am certain that if we talk to moms who are mostly stay at home or work part-time or whatever, work from home, I'm sure there's mom guilt on every facet of the world because it just seems like breastfeeding, bottle feeding, sleeping, dilly-dallying. I feel like every corner of motherhood is rampant with opinions and then the potential to feel guilty about the opinion that you made and then wonder if you should have done something different. But I don't know. Where do you want to jump in? Should we orient? Why do I keep saying that? Should we talk more specifically about mom guilt in general and start there?
Yeah, because honestly, as much as work takes up a lot of the slice of the pie for mom guilt in a big way, there's so many daily things that also give me mom guilt. And I think it's a consistent thing that I at least see on social media from other moms where, okay, well, I'll kick it off because I saw this reel of this woman. I should have saved it, but I wasn't thinking about it at the time. She was doing something. She was like on her phone and she was like POV, I'm feeling guilty that I'm not more present with my kids. And then the next screen is like her playing with her kids. And then the title's like, I'm now feeling guilty for not cleaning the house. The house is a mess. And then she cuts to her cleaning the house. And then she's cleaning the house. And she's like, well, now I feel guilty for not spending quality time with my husband. And then it cuts to her spending time with her husband. And she's like, now I feel guilty for not allowing myself me time. And then it cuts to her doing me time. And then she says, well, now I feel guilty for being a bad mom. And I'm like, what a vicious cycle. It's like, it's just so much to hold sometimes. And you just don't know where to place it. And I'll be completely honest, I have let like the house stuff go a little bit versus pre-children, because in my head I'm like, I have to do it sometimes because if it's too cluttered, then my brain doesn't work in general. But if I'm sitting there and I can either clean the kitchen or hang out with my kids, I've been trying to make the conscious decision to like hang out with the kids.
Yeah.
And then after they go to bed, we have to clean up or whatever. It's just one of those things where there's always something to be feeling guilty about, to be honest.
Yeah. That meme or reel you just described feels like the perfect illustration.
Mm-hmm. It's
so
hard to balance everything.
It's really, for you, the source of guilt is just time related.
Yeah. Well,
and how do you spend it?
I think there's two little paths for me, at least, that I take. And there's the path of guilt where I'm not spending as much time with them for whatever reason that is. A lot of it is work. And then the other path is when you're just having one of those moments or those days where you're just like, my God, I want to leave the house. Like feeling guilty to be elated to go on a grocery store trip alone. Like that's also mom guilt. Like I'm so happy to just get a second, but then I'm like feeling so guilty because they're only going to be here and you only have 10 more Christmases with them. And you only like, there's just so much stuff, and social media doesn't make it any better because everything's so dramatic, but it's true. And then it makes you want to cry. And then, for me, I think it's the time. And then sometimes when I'm just like so overstimulated and overwhelmed and I get annoyed, I think that's fair to say. I'm just at my capacity and I'm unable to regulate myself at that point.
Yeah.
And I get sad and guilty once I can kind of come out of that because I'm like, they're children. Like, of course they don't know that they're overstimulating me. Like they love me and I shouldn't have felt that way. And now I feel guilty about it.
Okay. So it's time is a source and then feelings.
Yes.
Normal human emotions.
Yep. Exactly.
It makes so much sense. I think we all do this in some version of ourselves where we get annoyed with someone or something. I think if you're not a mom, it's easy to think you couldn't relate, but like your dog might be annoying and in your face. And that's like, oh, he just hasn't seen me all day. Or your significant other is trying to talk to you after a long day and you snap at them, or you act like a butthole at work because you had a long night the night before. I mean, all of us do this in some capacity where we just didn't show up the way that we wanted to for someone or for something. Totally makes sense. I wonder if this is harder for those of us who are type A. Like, kind of what you were saying, you can't be perfect with keeping your house up. That feels like a really good starting point for coping in general. Like, I can't do everything.
Yes. It's like you've got all these things, and there's going to be stages in life where at least one dips a little bit. Like it would be crazy. You can't do it all because if you have a perfectly clean house all the time, then you do like the way you're spending your time is different, whether that's with your children or with your significant other or whatever. So one of my goals this year, my manifestations, is to be more present, which I've been saying, but like really doing tangible things like putting my phone down when we get home, taking my Apple Watch off because work does bleed into my post 9 to 5 hours. And if I can at least give myself like 2 hours time where I can be present with my family and then I'll check my phone, okay, that's fine, whatever. So I'm trying to do things like that. And we're trying to be more intentional with taking the boys to different places and different experiences and going to church once a month. We were laying in bed last night and we were like, man, like this is going to go so fast. And our 2.5-year-old basically looks like a 5-year-old. And I'm like, he's like not going to even need us in a couple years. I know that's dramatic, but like that's where your head goes. And then so in the moments where it's so frustrating, I saw this other thing that was heartbreaking. It was like, you don't realize how easy it was to go back in time and any problem. It like makes me emotional. I don't think I was going to cry. Like any problem that your kids have when they're younger, like is immediately fixed by you just giving them a hug. And like, that's literally all they need. And as they get older, it's like, there's so many more problems that are complex and complicated and you can't just fix it for them. And it just feels like it's going to go by so fast, which then in turns makes me feel guilty about the times that I'm not with them.
Yeah.
So it's like this weird roller coaster vicious cycle that, I enjoy working too. Like I like having some kind of purpose outside of like obviously stay-at-home moms, like that's a huge purpose and it's a hard full-time job. And in a different life, I would love to do that, but like that's not what's happening. And so I do enjoy the work that I'm doing. It's just, it's hard when you think about how much time is spent away.
Mm-hmm.
And like, will they remember that? Maybe not.
I
Not
mean,
right
I can
now,
tell
but
you that I don't think about that at all.
yeah.
As a daycare baby, as a
Yeah.
plopped in at 12 weeks daycare baby, and so were my brothers. That's not what I think about ever. I
That's
also
good.
don't really. You and I can have a side conversation of the things that I do think about that are not the things that you guys are doing. If you want to pick a 2 working parent daycare baby brain, but I don't want to put my parents on blast in a negative way because I think at the end of the day, everyone's doing what they can
Yep.
and doing their best. And I think there's pros and cons. And this is literally what my coworker and I were talking about because I was asking her, because the more I have friends who have kids, the more appreciation I have for how much is on your plate and how much you all have to balance. And it looks different for everybody. I also in this do not want to be sounding like I'm talking negatively about moms who stay at home with their kids, because like you said, that's a different bundle of things. And then you're always on in that realm. But I think there's things to working that do take up a large chunk of your time. Like we all have 24 hours. And if 8 to 10 of those hours is spent at a job away from the house, that is a challenge that is unique to if you're working. Does that make sense?
Yeah, no, it does. I mean, I think there's guilt and whatever that feeling is, like not unease, but just like the impact. It's just different for every scenario. Cause yeah, like stay-at-home moms, you're on like 24/7 because if you're home, then people think, oh, you've been home all day. So then they maybe are expected to be on all night. And then it's like you're on during the night and you get no sleep and you get no break. Like that's a whole other facet of things, which I can highly appreciate for having my 2 kids at home on the weekends.
Yeah.
Like it's a lot of work. And then sometimes I feel guilty for kind of being glad I'm going to work.
Yeah.
And then an hour in, I'm like, I would like to be home with my babies. So it's like this weird thing. I think I lost what I was going to say. I felt like it was very important. Maybe it'll come back to me. It was something else I saw on Instagram and it just like hit. But I think ultimately there's like really no way to do it right. And you just have to make it work with where you're at. And I just have to remember like the moments that I do have, like I have to take the most. I want to not take them for granted and make the most of them because like they say, it's so cliche, but the days are long, but the years are short. Like it's so true.
Yeah.
And it's hard to remember in the moment, but at this point, like I'm not going to not work. So that's off the table. So I'm going to be
Yeah.
working. So I need to just evaluate the time I do have and make the most of it. And just know that
I think
getting
that
overstimulated is normal and not try to
Yeah.
not feeling guilty about it.
I think that like the shadow to that or the potential negative side to that is even when you have time constraints, if 10 of your hours are devoted to work and then you're left with 14 and hopefully 4 or 5 of those you're sleeping, is in the moments that are shitty feeling important to remember, like, I don't have to love every minute of everything I'm doing all of the time. Do you know what I mean? Like if you're cleaning up a blowout, you don't have to be like, thank you, Lord, for this blowout.
Yeah.
I won't have these forever. I can see how that helps as a coping strategy, but I can also see how that adds more guilt and more pressure. Everything about this conversation feels like a contradiction, not in a bad way, but we've talked about before. You basically have to be able to tolerate holding 2 opposing facts or forces, and they both are true. And then just that there's a balance between those 2 things. Just because you have limited, like if you got home from work and you said, I'm going to spend all of the time with my kids because I have to, because they're going to grow like in a fearful fury,
Stressful.
then you're never going to take care of yourself. You're never going to have time just with your spouse. And then you're never going to be able to keep your home life going. Like that's not sustainable. But I love your intention of being present so that when you're doing one thing, you're doing one thing. I feel like multitasking is the biggest killer for all of us.
And the other thing is just distractions. And you know where a lot of distractions come from? Our freaking phone, dude. Like I'm so over it and I hate it and I hate that I'm addicted to it. I'll fully admit. And I hate that I have to use it for work a lot. And so even when we're just at home being present, it's like I'm not trying to just be like, my kids, my kids. It's like, okay, this is perfect time to sit down as the 4 of us and just like live and be and, like look at each other in the eyes. I just feel like there's disconnect stemming from social media and our phones. And I feel guilty when I get sucked in because sometimes after a long day, all you kind of want to do is doom scroll. And if the kids are doing something and they're playing and they're occupied, and I'm like, let me just sit here for a little bit, and I'm scrolling, and then I notice that they're looking at me, and then another guilt kicks in, and I'm like, A, a bad example. B, I'm sorry I wasn't paying attention to you. And C, I don't want you to want to do this when you're older because I'm not giving you a phone for a really long time. So that's a whole other category of stress and guilt. But regardless, I feel like mom guilt is normal
Yeah.
because there's so many ways it could eke out. And I feel like if you don't have mom guilt, then you're lying. Here's what I remember. I saw something that was like, the reason why you care and you're worried that you're doing a good job as a parent is because you're a good parent. Because the
Yeah.
bad parents aren't going to care or worry that they're doing a good job. And I'm like, okay, that makes me feel better. That makes me feel better because I care so much. And I don't know if I'm doing a good job.
Yeah, yeah. Like the uncertainty is a normal feeling. And then it's the limit setting how much you let that distress you, I guess.
Mm-hmm. Like noticing it, it's like therapy. Like you notice it and then you let it like continue on the road. Like, you know?
It's like any anxiety provoking situation or any intrusive thought or mental doom scrolling. It's just what you said. Like I can notice the parade going by and just acknowledge the floats. I don't have to go hop on and then go down the street with all of it. Like it's a thing. Thanks, brain. We're going to let that go and come back to where we are. Because I could totally see how you could have guilt and then feel guilt about being guilty, and you could ram yourself right up to the moon.
Oh, yeah. Very valid. Yeah. Yeah.
I have a lot of empathy for people who did this back in the day without therapy.
Or without like a bunch of other stuff. Like
well,
the time
too,
period between like not having a big community and all these like gadgets and tech things and help that we have. You know what I mean? Like, that's crazy. Just to be sitting there with 4 kids changing cloth diapers every day. Like, oh my God. I don't know. That's a random example, but anyway.
No, I hear you. I don't know. I just think about how much of a demon I am. I am not my best self when I don't sleep. So never mind, like you're piling all these other emotional things on top of you that you need to sort through and handle or not handle or filter. And you're doing that on not enough sleep. And then like all those things are piling up. I have to imagine that you're basically going through the fire. And I can't, and it amplifies everything. I guess that's what I'm trying to say. So if you have issues that you haven't dealt with or emotional problems or baggage from your childhood, and then you go just like ripping into having kids, I have a lot of empathy for how your own issues become amplified under the pressure cooker that is motherhood. That's what
Yeah. That's perfect. I mean, I think you're absolutely correct. And yeah, the non-sleep really compounds everything because of course you're going to be a little more irritable if you've only gotten 4 hours of sleep for the last 3 months. Like that's also something to remember. Like maybe I'm not operating as my best self right now. Like I need to give myself grace too. It is just like a bunch of, I can't think of an example, but you're just bouncing from one guilt and feeling to the other all the time.
Is there anything you would say to you when you started the journey versus now where you are? Like, is there a piece of advice you would go back and give yourself if you could?
I would say to myself, it's serious, but it's not that serious. Like, it's important, do your best, but you can't expect yourself to be perfect and you are going to make mistakes and you just have to own up to that. Like, there's times where I'll say something to my oldest because he's being a toddler and he's doing crazy things. And my baby is screaming and they're both screaming. And we're up in the moon. We're past the moon. We're like in the stars onto another galaxy. And I just lose it. And then I'm realizing I'm in the wrong. And then we all calm down. And then I apologize. Like, I feel like you need to be able to own your own mistakes as a parent and apologize to your kids and not feel like that's weird or whatever. It's like, hey, mom was overwhelmed. I'm sorry I snapped. I didn't mean what I said. Like, you're just a toddler. I know you wanted just to get my attention or whatever it is. So I would say it's important, but it's not that important. So don't stress yourself out too much about it because you're not going to be perfect and they're going to be okay. Like, don't do harm, but they'll be okay.
I think it goes back to what you said, like try. You're trying. You're trying because you care.
Yeah.
And also, as a recovering perfectionist, I think it's really important for kids to see that their parents are perfect. We don't maybe need them to see that in a way that's traumatizing. You know what I'm saying? Like, obviously there's limits on this, but for your parent that's worried about doing well, I think your kids seeing that you're not perfect and how you handle your own imperfections and how you apologize, like you're modeling good behavior in real life. And if my parent were perfect, how stressful would that be for me when I mess
It's a
up?
lot to live up to. Yeah.
Exactly. And I think that I can say, looking back on my childhood, I don't begrudge my parents the times that they were trying and maybe made a mistake. Like, I think a lot of the harm comes out of the times when people weren't trying. Do you know what I mean? It's like effort. I think especially as you get older, every kid is going to be like, I wish you would have done that. You know, there's always going to be something. But I think as a person matures and looks back, you can say they did the best with what they had in the moments that they were putting in effort. I think a lot of hurt comes from neglect or lack of effort or non-engagement. Does that make sense?
100%.
Like, essentially you're trying. Like, if I were me talking to my parents, like, didn't love that, but I can see that you are doing your best. I appreciate it. Do you know what I mean? I think so many kids struggle because they don't get attention versus maybe we didn't have like the best attention that day.
Yeah.
But it
Yeah. I
was,
feel
and
like
then
the
like you
moments.
said, you go back and apologize. That's
Yeah.
huge.
Yeah. I feel like if there's moments of, because like we're not always perfect. If it's a constant situation, that's different. But when you're having a bad day or just having a hard time, and I think it's good too to like have them watch you regulate yourself. And that's also another thing when they're unregulated. Oh my God, I just need to try to be regulated because that's what feeds them and that's what calms them down. It's not me explaining something to him. It's not me doing anything to actually fix the problem. It's just staying regulated so he can then regulate.
Yeah.
So that's what I'm working on currently.
And it'll be interesting. I feel like what you said, every stage has to have their struggles, but from the outsider, the phase you're in has to be the hardest. That has to be.
It feels like it, but I've been proven wrong before.
I get the complication of things. There's got to be, as kids get older, more things that are more heart-wrenching or they're difficult and that you can't fix them. That I could totally understand what you're saying on that front. But like, God, this has to be the toughest for just life, like just surviving.
Well, yeah, the
when
other
they're
thing
this
that
young.
is, yes, the other part of guilt that I forgot to mention is when they're both crying and they both need me, like you have to pick one. And that's heart-wrenching. I've heard so many people say, pick the toddler because they'll remember a little bit more. And the baby, like, unless the baby is like in danger, like help the toddler first. And that's great. And I've been doing that. But it's also like, my God, my 3-month-old is screaming for help.
Yeah.
And I'm like trying to regulate my 2.5-year-old and not be overstimulated by the screaming baby in the background. It's that's another thing, like guilty of like picking and choosing.
Yeah.
In any moment.
I feel like some of these things have to get at least less overstimulating as they age, where they can self-regulate a little.
Yeah. I would agree. I feel like it gets harder in different ways and gets less hard in the stimulation ways.
Yeah. Like you should reach a point where you can sleep more regularly and where you don't have to wash like pumping parts and do diapers and someone can take themselves to the bathroom. You know what I mean? There's gotta,
dude, when the sleep comes back, that's huge. When the sleep can be there, that's like the biggest first step. The only other thing I'll say, because I just remember this, if you do have 2 children, obviously one's going to be younger, people tend to give babies kisses. Not strangers. No one kiss my baby. But me, I will kiss my baby a lot. And I've made it a very like important priority to kiss my oldest more. Like every time I'm with him, I kiss him on the forehead. I'm like, whenever I kiss the baby, I kiss my toddler because I've heard people say like, you kiss the baby so much and you talk to them all nice and cute, but then you have to kind of discipline your toddler, like talk to them differently and just like showing them that you're still my baby. Like I tell my oldest that I'm like, you're still my baby. You're a big brother, but you're still mommy's baby. And I'll just give him lots of kisses because I don't want him to think that we love the baby more than him or whatever.
Yeah. Yeah. I also feel like some of the feelings of jealousy and some of that are not a bad thing because that's life and learning life. I completely appreciate how much intention you guys put forth, and I'm certain he'll benefit from it. But I also think it's great that you guys are helping him learn you have to share attention. Not everything's all about you all the time. Just life lessons. It's crazy how much that stuff comes into play so early. And also from the outside looking in, I just continue to look at my friends who are parents and be so grateful to our generation for the intention with which we are parenting. Because there will obviously be things that aren't perfect, but it makes my heart so warm when I see my friends and both parents parenting and how much intention goes into that and how much partnership there is with parenting, and dad's not calling it babysitting anymore. Like I'm really hopeful for your kids' age group that there are going to be a lot of parents. There's probably more working, like 2-parent households both working, but I just feel like so much more of that is going to be on purpose, and people are having kids because they want to, and maybe they're waiting a little bit longer in life, but they feel prepared, making it a conscious choice, trying to learn. I don't know. I just hear so many of my friends struggle, and it's exactly what you said. Being worried about it means that you care.
Yeah.
And I just want to end this on the high note of, 1, I don't know how y'all do it, but 2, I love watching it because I just feel so hopeful that there's not going to just be a bunch of like, we had kids because we were supposed to.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, and whoops, I didn't know I got pregnant.
Yeah.
All of that stuff can happen. It doesn't mean it's a bad thing, but you can still be surprised and then raise your child with intention.
Yes. Yeah.
But I'm just so happy in my heart watching everybody struggle with it, in the sense that it means that they're wanting to do the right thing.
Yeah, exactly.
And also, if you don't have kids and you have coworkers who have to call out sick because they have kids, just chill out.
I know. In my role, it's completely different when my kid just threw up in my car and it made me sick, and now I threw up and I don't even know I'm like, Ted, handle that. Take your time. You just let me know. It's so different when there's so much more sympathy and empathy that you can extend, because even trying to get out the house, it's like, what was I doing before kids? Walking around, getting ready and leaving. Now it's like a whole freaking circus trying to get everyone out of the house, and I've got at least 40 minutes worth of time. It's just funny. So I give a lot of grace to people with kids, because some days are just not it.
That's what I'm hopeful for people who don't have them, who are maybe younger in the workplace. Develop some empathy and talk to people and have conversations and realize, okay, granted, there's going to be people who take advantage. And as somebody without kids, I can still have a bad day. I'm allowed to be tired. I'm allowed to want to take holidays off. I don't think it should always just be this trump card of I win, you lose. But I can say having you guys as friends going through this has made me a better coworker. When I've had coworkers be like, I'm sorry, I'm running late. I'm like, who cares?
Yeah.
I got you. I'll lie to the manager if they're being a turd.
Yeah.
Do what you need to do. Take time off. I'll cover it. And when I take time off, you'll cover me. And we can all, this doesn't have to be versus.
No, not at all.
No kids versus kids. We can all just be nice. Okay. This has gotten longer than I meant to, but I'll shut up.
It was a good combo. If you have anything to add, listeners, tell us, comment, call, email. We got everything in the show notes. So we'd love to hear from you. YouTube.
And until next week.
Love you. Bye. You got your mug. Yeah.
I know. I always drink with the wrong way. So I'm trying to show it. Okay.
Bye.